At that point, I lost all memory. The guys that were with me, they all helped try to get me unhooked from this machine. Blood's coming out. They put a balaclava over my face. When they tried to unhook me, I said, well, what happened? I want to welcome you back again for our next story in it. January 6, 2022. It was just going to be a simple ride. It was just going to be a fun ride. And we went out. There was about 5 of us. Well, actually, there was 6 of us, but one had to leave because his machine got wrecked partway. And we went up towards Silver Star Lakes, and my brother-in-law and my son-in-law were kind of new, and so we were just kind of going to this new area to go snowmobiling, and you know, we had an awesome day. I mean, it was kind of like today, except the weather conditions were there were lots of snow, but in the morning it was freezing rain. It was sort of sticking to your goggles and your windshield, and if you had heated goggles, it was ugly in the morning. But the afternoon turned out beautiful. We spent the whole day up there, enjoyed ourselves, just come back, gonna load up. Now there's something, if you've been involved with snowmobiling or snow biking, you know that the loading can be something. And so we were getting ready to load everything up, and we had a ramp hooked to the truck and then the trailer. We loaded up my snow bike, and we had a couple snowmobiles, and we had borrowed a couple from my dad. And one was a Phasar, and it had carbide skis underneath. And so what happened is, the first time I went to load it, we drove up the ramp, and the carbides, it just kind of slowed it down, and I couldn't get up. So we pulled it off, took it around again, and went for another try at it. Now from this point on, I don't remember what happened. This is what people tell me. But they said I was going too fast. I was giving it a lot, trying to get up there. And as that skis touched the ramp at high speed, one thing we never did, which I always do now, and I recommend everyone who does it, is I hadn't tied it back. I hadn't had an issue before. You should always have them tied back, the ramp to whatever you're getting on, if it's a truck or a trailer. So when I hit that, because it wasn't tied off, the skis caught at the base of the ramp and basically drove the ramp bottom, if you can imagine it, just drove it straight underneath the truck at the top of the ramp, and these metal clips right here caught me straight in the face and pinned me to the snowmobile. The one just missed my eye just by millimeters. The other one in the forehead, the other one. And at that point, I lost all memory. The guys that were with me, my son, family, friends, and brother-in-law Brody and Paxton, and Regan, they all helped try to get me unhooked from this machine. Blood's coming out. They put a balaclava over my face, tried to stop the bleeding, pack it with snow, tried to put me in the truck. The first thing I said when they tried to unhook me, I said, well, what happened? Blood's coming everywhere. No idea what's going on. So they do a lot of things to get me down. They get the truck all loaded, get back down, take us down to the hospital. Now you got to remember, we're right in the middle of COVID-19. Going to the hospital with COVID-19 can be a bit of a hassle. We pull in there, I have no memory. I come in there, they tell me, I'm asking, what are those things on people's faces? Why do people wear masks? What year are we? Where are we? And they said they were having a hard time explaining all this stuff to me, but because I was in such critical condition, they whisked us right in. Quickly did a CT scan on me to look for brain injury because I had absolutely no memory. And in the interim, my wife was on the way to the hospital. People were praying. The CT scan came through. Praise God, there was no brain injury. But they said to my wife, Jana, they said, you know what, we're going to let you take him home because he's going to be very nervous here. I was like a little kid. I had no idea where I was. I didn't know who anybody was. I didn't even think I was married anymore. Kept asking Caleb because I finally realized that we were together. I feel like maybe it was just Caleb and I now. And I had no idea. The only things I did remember, there were a couple things that were kind of coming through, was like I was trying to figure out where my brother was. He'd been dead for 25 years. I was trying to remember where a family friend was, and he had died in a snowmobile accident a few years before that even. There was nothing otherwise. And so as they're getting us out of the hospital, they're taking us out of the hospital, my wife's got me by the hand and she's trying to lead me out of the hospital. And she's trying to lead me out of the hospital, and I'm like, I think she's breaking us out of there. I'm saying, are you stealing? Are you breaking me out of here? We're gonna get in trouble. I had to go to the bathroom, and so she took me to the bathroom, and these are stories that she was telling me. Takes me to the bathroom, I go in the bathroom, and I take my pants down, and I got these underwear on. And I guess they're kind of like bright blue, and I was like, what kind of ridiculous things are these? And she was like, you know, like these are the kind of things that happen when you lose your memory. You don't know anything. And so she sneaks me back, well, she never snuck me, but she took me back into the hospital. We get in the vehicle, go all the way home. And during that time, they were playing all sorts of games on me, they said, because at that time I had no filter. I would say whatever came to mind, if there was anything. And they would ask me something about somebody. If it was in my memory bank somewhere way in the past, I could pull it up and I would tell them exactly what they thought. So they were having a real fun time with that. But anyways, we get home. The house is all dark. I can't take any light. My eyes, I can't see because it's so bright. It just gives me an instant headache, noise. And as I'm in there, my dad, different people came. I didn't really even know where I was. I didn't know we had moved back to BC. I didn't know we were living in British Columbia. I thought we were still in Alberta. I didn't know our house. I knew nothing. And my dad's voice, I remember my dad's voice. And maybe right now you think, oh, his voice was very comforting to you. His voice was so painful to me because it seemed like it was so loud. I couldn't listen to my dad's voice because it was like, he has quite a loud voice. And I just, oh no, it just gave me an instant headache. And so that night, all through the night, I just kept asking my wife, Jana, what happened? And as I'm holding on to her, because I'm just like a scared kid, just like your first day of kindergarten, you know, when you're taking somebody to school, your first day, and they don't want to go and they've just been around you. I was just like that. I was just holding on to her like a kindergarten, just take me everywhere. And I said, what happened? What happened? So she'd tell me the story over and over. And I got up in the middle of the night. I remember going to the mirror. This is something I have in my memory. I remember looking and seeing my face, but I don't know what happened. I couldn't pull it up. I have no idea. Why did this happen? How did this happen? Why don't I remember? It's a really strange and hard thing to face. And so over the next few days, it's this over and over and just trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening. And I remember it was a Friday night, and I was in the bath. And I was sitting in the bath, and as I was sitting there, I was starting to get some memory. And what came was like God talked to me while I was in the bath. And he said, Luke, I did for you what your friends just did for you. And I'm like, what do you mean? So you got in that accident up on the hill and you didn't know anything. If you didn't have people there, friends there, family there, people that loved you, you'd have died there by either bleeding to death or freezing to death that night. You were trapped under there. But you had no idea. And they took care of you and they did all this stuff. And he said to me, and it's just like what I've done for you. When I made this provision for you to have eternal life. You didn't know it, you didn't want it, and I made it for you. There's a text in the Bible that comes out of John chapter 14. John chapter 14, verse 6. And it said, Jesus told them, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Today, you may be looking at some things in your life. You may be looking at some things that have happened to you. Maybe you've wondered why you can't think as straight. As I'm sitting here today, after I had that concussion, my memory's never quite come back all the way. It's pretty good. I had a lot of ups and downs. And if you've been around me, you see sometimes I struggle for the odd word. It's because that will never leave me. That accident, although it turned out for good and I can think and I do have memory now, it will never be the same. But one thing that is the same for all of us is that through Jesus, there is provision. We might not be the same here, but there's provision. So I want to challenge you today, this week. I want you to take a step towards that provision. Look where He's active around you. Look at the little things that He's done in your life and ask yourself, could it be that this provision is there for me and I just haven't seen it? And if it is there for me, what exactly is my next step? I want to invite you to join us next week as we answer the question, is God active?